It's 6:30, and I'm going to call the meeting to order.
Okay.
As chair of the Guilford Selectboard, I find that due to the state of emergency declared by Governor Scott as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic, and pursuant to Addendum 6 to Executive Order 01-20 and Act 92, this public body is authorized to meet electronically. In accordance with Act 92, there is no physical location to observe and listen contemporaneously to this meeting. However, in accordance with the temporary amendments to the open meeting law, I confirm that we are, 1, providing public access to the meeting by video and by video with additional access offered through telephone. We are using Google Meet for this remote meeting. All members of the Guilford Select Board have the ability to communicate contemporaneously during this meeting through this platform, and the public has access to contemporaneously listen and, if desired, participate in this meeting by going to https://meet.google.com/pjb-ugxv-vvn, or by calling 617-675-4444 and entering the PIN number 303-176-3370422#. 2. Providing public notice of instructions for accessing the meeting. We previously gave to the public of the necessary information for accessing this meeting, including how to access the meeting using telephone and video in our posted meeting agenda, and instructions have also been provided on the town website at guilfordvermont.net. 3. Providing a mechanism for the public to alert the public body during the meeting if there are problems with access. If anybody has a problem, please telephone 603-558-0891. And 4, continuing the meeting if necessary. In the event the public is unable to access this meeting, it will be continued to a time and place certain. Please note that all votes taken during this meeting that are not unanimous will be done by roll call vote in accordance with the law. Let's begin the meeting by taking the roll call. Michael Becker.
I am here. Aye.
Rusty Marine.
Here.
Zahn Eastis.
Here.
Richard Wazansky here. And Miranda Porch is not here, but she may, I wouldn't be surprised if she joins us shortly. Okay, I don't see any public to recognize, and so therefore we don't have to talk about the rules of procedure, but I would ask, are there any additions to the agenda?
I do not personally have any.
All right. Anyone else? Are there any changes to the agenda order?
Yes, I have one change. Setting of the tax rate will be tabled to the next Select Board meeting on the 24th. This is due to the fact that the town has not received the final information from the state relating to the school budget. They are still finalizing that. Penny hopes that will be finalized next week, and at which time Lisa and Penny and I will work on putting that information together to present to the Select Board.
And I would like to add that I've asked Peter to put that on that information on the town website, and he's also going to post it to Front Porch Forum so that our residents know that there's a delay in setting the rate.
Both of which have already been done.
Great, thank you, Peter. Do I have any other changes to the agenda order?
Not from me.
Okay, then we'll move right into the Bridge 10 status update.
Would you like to approve your minutes first?
Oh, I'm sorry, I've skipped over that. Yes, I need a motion to approve the minutes.
So moved. I'll second it.
All right, is there any discussion?
I will just say, Verena had one minor correction because of a typo.
Okay, and you corrected it?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so we need approval of the corrected minutes, and I shall take the roll call vote. Michael Becker.
Aye.
Rusty Marine.
Aye.
Zahn Eastis.
Aye.
Richard Wazansky. Aye. The minutes have been approved. Thank you very much. Now on to the Bridge 10 status update.
Sure. If you don't mind, I'll give a quick highway update. I spoke with Dan earlier this morning. The excuse me, the road crew has been continuing and doing very similar to work to what Dan reported at the last select board meeting. They've been replacing culverts, particularly down in the Green River area, cleaning up quite a bit of brush alongside of roads in the right-of-way. Jimmy has been doing a lot of mowing, particularly down in the Packer Corner area. And,
I see him every day.
Yep, and Pete has been doing some grading, and Dan said it looks like that will continue for a couple more weeks before they start on their winter prep. So then on to the Bridge 10 status update. Last week, beginning of last week, the town received a notice from the state bridge engineer that Bridge 10 on Stage Road, right before you enter into Halifax, needed some attention for safety measures. So I communicated with Danny on this, and he made some plans to repair the issues and needed to purchase some materials. In the process of doing that, due to the age of the bridge, he was concerned that it may be listed as an historic bridge within the town. And if it is a historic bridge, that means that he has some limitations as to what repairs he can make on it. And last I spoke with him, he's still waiting to hear back as to the status of that. So that will determine what supplies he needs to buy. But it is in progress, and that's it.
I should point out that Peter and Dan were both very quick to respond to Leslie. I think she's the state representative.
Pamela is her name.
Pamela, the state representative. So we were very quick in response, and the work got started very quickly. So I was very pleased with that, and I think the select board should be very pleased with that quick response. Thank you, Peter. New business. The next item on the agenda is listing items for a select board agenda, and I wish Miranda were here, but because this applies to her. But Peter, would you just go over for us very quickly, please, how we get items on the agenda? That's what we just want to review, how a select board member brings forward an item for the agenda.
Sure, no problem. I mean, this partially has come up just because over the past several months, generally for reasons out of our control, we've had a number of items that have come up last minute to be added to the agenda on the night of the meeting. This is not ideal. It is permissible under law, but it is not ideal. And so generally, I work with the select board chair in the week prior to the meeting. The select board had previously determined that any items to be added to the agenda or invoices to be added to the warrant needed to be sent to me as far as invoices or items, or items for the agenda could be sent to the chair as well by 3 p.m. on Wednesday prior to the meeting. The reason for this is to enable it to be on the agenda so town residents have as much time as possible to determine if it's a topic that they wish to participate in the conversation on. And so it's not necessarily something against the select board, but it is in support of residents being informed. Okay,
thank you, Peter. So it's 3 p.m. Wednesday. If you have something, you know a resident who wants to get something on the agenda, that's the time period, and it goes to Peter and to me.
And so, you folks, it's just very informal. There's no state regulation around that time frame. That was set by the select board. You folks could change it. When I first started working for the town, it had been 3 p.m. on Thursday, and the select board at the time just didn't feel that was enough time to get the agenda prepared. Because the town office is closed on Fridays, I have to post the agenda on by close of business on Thursday in order to meet the state requirements of a minimum of 48 hours prior to said Monday. So that's just the history behind that.
Okay, thanks, Peter. All right, on to the bike pedestrian grant.
Yep, so some of you may hopefully remember almost 2 years ago now, we requested VTrans to do a road safety audit in Guilford Center and in Algiers Village. And at that time, there was quite a bit of discussion, particularly around the audit for Algiers Village because of concern for pedestrians and bicyclists. At that time, shortly after the audit was completed, we received the results. Chris Campany of WRC came to a select board meeting, and he recommended to us, since the results were not what we had been hoping for, that we consider applying for a bike and pedestrian planning grant from the state with assistance from WRC. These grants are used to investigate what can be done to improve safety and accessibility for those two groups I mentioned, and can help the town in determining if there's any additional actions that could be taken in order to provide a safer environment for them. Earlier this year, those grants had been put on hold due to COVID-19. I received an email last week notifying us that they are now open and accepting applications until October. I have been in communication with Chris Campany on this, and he does think it's a good idea for us to try applying for one of these. He's not part of the review committee or anything, but he does think we have a good case, considering the results of the previous study. Yep. And so I just wanted to present it to the select board and get your input as to whether or not you feel this is something I should put some time into doing.
I do.
I'd be in support of that.
Okay.
Me also.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Then
Well, go for
I
it.
will start working on that.
Great, thank you, Peter. And then Brenda was going to update us on Peter Welch's call, and she's not here. Were you on that call, Peter?
I was not, because I was with you at the meeting at the town garage.
Right, okay. So we'll have to table that one, too.
Yep.
Okay. Now, revision of overtime policy. You'll remember that we stopped overtime, and then we realized that the highway department during a blizzard may need to work more hours than 8 hours a day, and there may be other events that would cause that. So, and we've also heard from town residents about this, including Jared at the fire department, and I would like to present a motion in which we allow overtime on a case-by-case basis for overtime that is specifically related to extreme weather events, and these could be anything. So I'm going to read the motion that Peter drafted at my request and that I altered a little bit, and I hope that you will vote with your heart and mind. So here's the motion.
Richard, are you making the motion, the original motion?
Yes.
Okay.
Can I do that?
You may.
Yes. Here's my motion. In light of the fact that Guilford is often confronted with extreme weather events, and in light of concern recently expressed by Guilford residents, the fire department, and the road crew about the damage, hazards, and difficulties caused to our town by extreme weather events, I move to authorize the chair of the select board to approve staff overtime on a case-by-case basis and to report such actions to the select board upon doing so. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Thank you, Rusty. Is there any further discussion? Great. I think it's really important. I will say I think it's really important that if there's a blizzard that we pay overtime to the guys who are working all night to clean up our roads.
Or if we have a windstorm like last week in which they spent 6 hours cleaning up down trees.
Right. So I'll take the roll. Michael Becker.
Aye.
Rusty Marine.
Aye.
Zahn Eastus.
Aye.
Richard Wazansky. Aye. The motion carries. Thank you very much. I think it's very important that we made that correction. And then the vacation.
So I'm just curious, Richard.
Yes.
I mean, that'll just be made just by the chair and not a group decision, or.
Yes, that's the way what you just voted on.
Yeah.
Because I'm the direct supervisor of the road crew. So
And me and Lisa.
And right, and so and of Peter and Lisa, and so what I would do is to say yes, we're going to authorize this overtime, and then tell you right away, the select board, that I was doing that.
Okay.
Because what's going to happen is that they're going to work the overtime without asking me, and then I'm going to authorize it.
So, for example, Michael, just very briefly, like last week when we had the storm that wasn't really that bad, the primary thing that affected Guilford was strong winds which knocked down trees. And so because you folks don't have time to call a meeting and take a vote on approving overtime, it's easier for the select board chair, who's the direct supervisor, to say, yes, please do your job, and then report back to the remainder of the select board at a later date.
Yeah.
Or you
Yeah,
just
and-
later.
no problem with that.
Yeah, and in regard to the storm last week, Danny called me after the road crew had worked a number of overtime hours and said, we worked some overtime hours. I hope that the policy is going to be, get to be flexible about overtime in extreme, and hazardous conditions. And I said, well, that was our intention, and thank you for doing what you did. So, yeah. Thank you, Select Board. Our next item on the agenda is vacation policy changes, and I have the draft in front of me that Rusty and I drafted, and here it is. And I would, I guess I have to make this motion too, since it's right in front of me. Does anybody mind if I make the motion?
No, not at all.
Okay. Employees are strongly encouraged to take annual vacation and to use their vacation time in the year it is accrued. If an employee does not use all of her accrued vacation leave in a calendar year, the employee may carry unused vacation leave forward to the next year up to a maximum of 10 vacation days. Should the leave time not be taken during the year in which it is carried over, it shall be forfeited. An employee who resigns from employment with the town with at least 2 weeks' notice of resignation will be compensated for the allowable unused accrued vacation leave at a rate equal to her regular rate of pay. So just to interpret, we had a different policy before, which said that an employee could cash out accrued vacation time, and we have now this new policy would change it. I would like to add something here, which was one sentence that I didn't just read, but I meant to read, is that this policy will go into effect in 3 months. We've been advised that when you make a personnel policy change, that there should be 3 to 6 months for the change to occur. So I would like this to say 3 months.
I'd just like to know, do we know, and maybe this is a Peter question, but on the, when an employee receives a paycheck, do they get an update, on each paycheck where they stand?
Yes, that is correct.
The burden isn't on them to keep track of it.
That is correct. The way that our payroll system works, it lists out every week your amount of vacation time, your amount of personal time, and your amount of sick time.
Okay.
Rusty, did you have a question?
I did not.
Oh, okay. Anyone else? Do I have a second for that motion?
I'll second.
Thank you, Rusty. Is there any further discussion? I'll take the roll. Michael Becker.
Aye.
Rusty Marine.
Aye.
Zon Eastis.
Aye.
Richard Wazanski, aye. The motion carries. Thank you very much. I think that we've done a really good thing by having this personnel policy change. It's more in line with what I'm used to, which is use it or lose it. That's a vulgar way of putting it, but that's the way that most businesses and nonprofits. I worked for a nonprofit for 22 years, and that was the policy. Even though we had a great human resource policy, there was no cash payment for unused vacation time. And Zon, I think you told me the same thing about where you had worked. Great. Okay.
Richard, before you move on, may I make a quick suggestion? May I suggest that you and I work together to draft a memo to present to all town employees, notifying them of the change and when the change will take effect?
Thank you. Yes, definitely. Very good.
Will the 3 months be starting now or after that memo?
From tonight.
So generally, when you guys make a decision, the time frame starts on the next business day. So it would be 3 months from tomorrow.
Okay.
Thank you for that correction. Okay, we're moving right along here. This is the last agenda item, boys. do you have any updates on COVID-19, Peter?
There's not a lot this week. Sadly, as some of you likely have heard, that Vermont has now had 2 additional deaths from COVID-19. These 2 were the first deaths in 43 days, which is the best in the entire country. So, obviously condolences go out to those families. There is continued testing available to anyone who wants to be tested. You do not have to have symptoms, nor do you have to have exposure. And the State Emergency Operations Center is, because the conditions in Vermont are still so good, the SEOC is still on monitoring status only. The Vermont Department of Health does recommend caution and testing if you travel outside of Vermont and return if you're outside of Vermont for longer than 24 hours. And then just briefly, residents are reminded that as of August 1st, mask wearing is now required in public per the governor's order.
Thank you, Peter. And do you have the warrants, Peter?
I do. So I would need someone to make a motion.
I can read them.
Okay, great.
Oh, yes, Don, please do.
I have them here. So I would like to move that we address the warrants payroll week ending August 2nd, 2020 for $8,714.64, as well as payroll week ending August 9th, 2020 for $6,843.25, as well as an expense warrant number 2003 for $16,787.56 for a grand total of $32,345.45.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Michael. Is there any discussion?
Just very briefly, I can give you the primary
It's
expense.
not. Wait, hold on, Peter. Did you have something, Zon?
I was just going to do exactly what Peter's getting right now.
Okay.
So it's fine.
Okay.
So just briefly, the 3 main expenses from this warrant is sand for $3,204, and annual software licensing for the listers of $2,400, and quarterly retirement payments for town employees of $3,826.
Very good.
Sorry about that, Don.
Okay. Is there any further discussion? Okay, Michael Becker.
Aye.
Rusty.
Aye.
Zon.
Aye.
Richard. Aye. All right, that motion carries. Thank you very much. Any communications, Peter?
The only communication is just so folks know that tomorrow and this weekend, we are expecting very high heat, and just to be cautious and stay in a cool spot.
Great. Actions from previous meeting.
The Select Board appointed Ann Montgomery as the Conservation Commissioner. The Select Board retained Dan Troidel to perform a background check on potential constable. Peter, Richard, and Veranda are to negotiate an FY21 partnership agreement with Broadbrook Community Center, which we will be finalizing tomorrow. And the Recreation Commission is to present 3 bids for a storage shed for their supplies to the Select Board, which is ongoing at least as of midweek last week. As far as actions taken this week, you approved overtime on a case-by-case basis. You approved changes to the personnel policy. And as far as actions to be taken, is Peter to work with Richard on drafting a memo for town employees on those changes to the personnel policy.
Right, and that there should be an action that the personnel policy has to be changed.
Yep.
Right.
That generally that goes along with your approval of it. That's just part of my follow-up actions.
Okay, great, excellent. There must be another motion in the wings.
I move that we adjourn.
Do I have a second?
I second that.
Okay. Any discussion?
Can I just ask
been a pleasure.
a quick question?
What, Michael? It's mutual.
Right.
Michael, what were you saying?
I was just curious, just a very brief update. The bid walkthrough for the roof, like, was it well attended or?
Frankly, no.
Okay.
We had one contractor come to the pre-bid meeting. This will be on the technically the remainder of this, since it was not warned on this meeting, we will discuss it at the next meeting. But we had one contractor show up. In the coming week or so, I'll send out information just to notify you guys what transpired, and then you folks can discuss the potential options at the next meeting.
Yeah, Peter and I debated about whether to put that on this meeting agenda, and I would prefer to have you have more information about what went on, so we can do it at the next meeting.
I couldn't make it.
So we had a second for adjournment. I shall take the roll. Michael?
Aye.
Rusty?
Aye.
John?
Aye.
Richard? Aye. And Leslie, nice to see you. Good night, everyone. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.